We find inspiration everywhere, but we don't want to steal other people's work, whether it be images we see online and Instagram, Pinterest, Google. We want to get in the habit of making our own work. And a lot of times we need to find an open source image or a public domain image, something that's been kind of shared publicly that says, yes, you can use me. And we want to use that into our work, whether it be for a collage, whether it be for reference, for drawing. It's a good practice to only use things that have been shared openly by artists, photographers, and designers. So when we start at like Google, for example, and we wanted to look for a photo of cats, so I'm going to type in cats, I'm going to tab over to images, and I want to go to tools, usage rights, and then select labeled for reuse with modification. Now we could maybe use some of those other labels, but that one kind of covers what we're using for in graphics class. And I want to make sure I'm looking at high resolution images, so I'm going to filter that size for large. And then make sure you open the photo all the way to save from that kind of full preview. And it's a good idea to start a folder on your desktop that becomes kind of a library of public domain open source images. Because even if you don't find something, or even if you find something you really love but you don't necessarily need for that project, something you just think looks really cool, a cool NASA space photo or something, you can put it there for later and just have some really cool things to pull from. So that's using Google Images. If we also want to go look on Flickr, Flickr is a great place to look for photos. It's a photo sharing website that a lot of photographers use. And you can filter right here to all Creative Commons or modifications allowed. And modifications allowed is going to cover, again, what we do the most here. And in here you can see there's the download button. You always want to go for the original highest resolution size, and hopefully it's over the thousands. And then at the bottom you'll see that there's a code that shows you the rights that the photographer has attributed to it. And so on here, each of these codes kind of shows you what you can and can't do. And this one, it says you're free to share it and adapt it. It'll tell you if you can use it for monetary purposes, if they want you to give them credit, and all that's going to be in there, which is really cool and really helpful for using photos. And again, make sure that you're downloading from the highest resolution. Beyond Google and Flickr, there are a bunch of wonderful, really fun websites on the internet that collect public domain, collect open source, and share out a range of copyright-free resources for you to use. And I have some linked for you on Classroom. If you click on the About tab, and then you can scroll down to resources on the class website, and this goes to our class website resource page, and there's a bunch of hyperlinks here. The American Memory Library of Congress site is really cool. You can go through and check out different collections. You can just search and filter for different media type. And they have like audio on here, video, so many cool things. And so you can go around, look for just a cool image, maybe you want to use as a background, and then it'll show you the download options. You always want to do your highest resolution. I'm going with the JPEG here. If there's a TIFF, you can do TIFF to get the highest uncompressed, and then save your image as there. And so it's really fun to kind of build these collections, and you can add them all to a folder on the desktop. And explore all these different links. They're all going to behave a little differently. They're going to have different kinds of collections. You're going to be able to search in different ways. So just kind of look at them. Some you can search just public domain by selecting a little box. There's lots of different ways to explore collections online, and more museums and institutions and organizations are sharing their collections online. They want them used. But you need to make sure you can use them in your own work. Just because you find an image that's on something called open source or it's on one of my links, that doesn't necessarily mean you can use it in your artwork. So you really have to get a habit of reading and understanding more and more about copyright and how these images have been shared, and incorporate them in an honest way that respects the copyright for each one. And if you're into this and you're on social media, find some places to follow. I love Open Culture. They have a website full of all different open source resources, online classes, ebooks, all kinds of stuff. And then they have a whole section of art and images. And a lot of them are from museums. On Facebook, they'll always tell you what new collections are being uploaded and digitized to share. So find some of these places on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook to follow, and find out more about open source culture.